Recently, the president announced support for the UN's Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, a document that was previously opposed by former President George W. Bush. As the State Department points out, the declaration is not legally binding. It doesn't force us to do anything, but it does work to, in the words of the State Department, address historical inequalities faced by indigenous communities in the United States, end quote. And President Obama has pledged to improve access to quality health care, education, and employment on Native American reservations and among that population. Of course, like any reasonable civil rights policy championed by the president, conservatives are going ballistic. The American Family Association and other right-wing groups claim that in reaching out to Native Americans, President Obama is trying to hand over our nation's sovereignty to them, including all of Manhattan. Yep, all of Manhattan. That was the headline on Drudge yesterday. President wants to give Manhattan back. This hatred of American Indians happens to coincide with the anniversary of the massacre at Wounded Knee, which happened 120 years ago today. It was there that as many as 300 Lakota Sioux Indians were killed at the hands of the U.S. 7th Cavalry Regiment, a dark day in American history, and unfortunately just one of many brutal incidents and injustices that have littered the timeline of Native Americans since this country was first settled by European colonizers more than 500 years ago. Today's Republican Party perfectly happy to continue many of these injustices. But to speak of that incident and its consequences to this day, Chief Frank John King, a member of the Rosebud Sioux Tribe with relatives who died at Wounded Knee, is with us. NativeVoiceMedia.com, by the way, is the website. And Chief King, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's nationalnativemedia.com. Native Voice was kind of a beginning of that, and we had to branch out a little bit more on a more national level with that.
So the website is national. Say it again.
Native Media.
Nationalnativemedia.com. Thank you.
Yes.
And can you tell us your story and your thoughts on this anniversary is a terrible word. This what would you call it?
I guess if you have people today they have their own term for it. You know, the Holocaust, they have an anniversary. It's similar to that. Mm-hmm. I believe that our people, especially in South Dakota, have had an adversarial relationship over the years with the United States government, and that a lot of treaties were broken, and there were issues back in the day that led up to where we are right now politically.
Sure.
And today we have our children carry on this tradition and custom in many ways, and one of them is they have a Bigfoot ride where Chief Bigfoot, who was massacred, whose people were killed there at Wounded Knee, left Sitting Bull's camp up on the border of Canada and just rode until he got to Red Cloud's camp where he was killed at Wounded Knee. So they still do that. Those children, mostly kids and leaders, they ride in the wintertime on horseback all the way down there.
Wow.
To commemorate that and
remember. Could you, Chief Frank John King, for our listeners who may not know the story of Wounded Knee, we only, unfortunately, the constraints of commercial radio, we only have about 6 minutes here altogether. But in a short period, in 2 or 3 minutes, could you kind of summarize what happened 120 years ago today?
Well, it began with injustices surrounding reservations. When Native Americans were back in that time were basically put on these tracts of land and were told that you're now going to be farmers, that kind of led to a lifestyle that was hard to fit into. And you had old chiefs and leaders who tried it but could not. Our lifestyle was being changed, and we wanted to make sure that the promises kept to live that way were kept. Rations and clothing and food and blankets. And at the time, that wasn't happening. And so, through the corruption of the system in place at that time, through the Bureau of Indian Affairs, there was you had agents out there who were taking advantage of that, who would take some of the rations and government issued surplus that went out there for the tribes, beef and stuff, and would sell it and give it away or make a profit off it before they give it to the Indians. And so what that led to was after you go through enough of that, you get tired of it. And so people were starting to get frustrated about, it's a starboard, it was a starvation policy. You just basically, they put up with it as long as they could. And then along came Wovoka, who was promoting the ghost dance religion of a messiah that would take us out of this. And he created a ceremony out of it. That kind of spread across the United States. All the tribes were going through that. And so Sitting Bull invited him up there. And through the course of that ceremony, the local people thought they may be up for, to rise against the government again through this dance. Back then, the religion of the people was pretty much outlawed. I think we really didn't get our right to practice our own religion until 1976.
Right. It was Jimmy Carter signed that law.
Yeah, and and at the time, they saw it as an act of war, that to dance and sing and those things. So
the American soldiers saw it as an act of war when the Indians did.
And the local communities, and the people who were settling in that area. So they wanted to stop to it, which led to eventually to Sitting Bull getting killed. At that point in time, Bigfoot and his people were there, and they left. They thought they would see retribution. Sitting Bull was killed. They figured they would go down to Red Cloud's camp and see if Red Cloud would take him in. So that's
and Red Cloud's camp was at Wounded Knee.
Yeah, it was on the Pine Ridge Agency in the southern part of South Dakota.
Right.
And so they come down, and long story short, they got there, and the cavalry met them there and wanted to disarm them. The cavalry at the time that I was stationed there was 7th Cavalry, so there's a chip on the shoulder. The Army in general. I mean, at the time
these were the quote Indian fighters cavalry.
Yeah. And they lost their battle at Little Bighorn. That was right after that, and they wanted
General Custer.
They wanted retribution for it, and so they surrounded the Indians and they told them to camp here. They put them in this area where they could watch them over a hilltop, and went down to disarm them. And there was a scuffle. A rifle went off, and everybody got killed. And it really was. It wasn't a provoked thing.
And it was mostly women and children who were killed, was it not?
Yeah, and people who were starving. Most of the warriors at the time, by that time, were dead. They were killed. And so there really wasn't anybody there. And I've worked in the media business, and there was a movie that came out a few years ago. It's called Hidalgo, and with Viggo Mortensen, and he premiered that in Rapid City. And it starts off with the precipice of it begins with the Wounded Knee Massacre, that he was there. And so I did the research and looked up some of the news clippings in that area. And the way the news, at the time, the media promoted it was like a great victory, that our soldiers were attacked again and we defeated the savage Indians. Right. And they should be awarded, which led to most of I think they issued out the largest amount of congressional medals of honor for that massacre.
Wow!
Simply because it led up to, people saw it as a victory on the cup of the Battle of Little Bighorn.
Yeah, after the defeat of Custer. Amazing. Chief Frank John King, nationalnativemedia.com, the website. Chief, thank you so much for being with us and sharing the story today.
For audio and video archives, go to thomhartmann.com.